Hello everybody and welcome back to the lab. Welcome to the lab after hours, where we are continuing work on the current stream project, attempting to do some things off of stream. And today we're going to be looking at the Twitch chatbot, and specifically we are just after the refactor to a more plugin style architecture, and we are looking into an issue where the bot appears to not be able to send messages back out to IRC. So if I'm gonna just show this real quickly. So if I come out here, we need to source our access token and then do a go run. And I currently do not have Twitch chat popped out. So let's grab twitch.tv/medlabs. Let's grab the chat. And actually, let me pop the chat out, because that will be very handy. There we go. All right. So, if I do what we would normally do to test the bot, which is throw our handy little hello command out, we can see that we are receiving the message. At least the message is coming from Twitch chat through IRC and making its way to the bot, and it's getting printed out, which means that that message is making its way more or less all the way down to the logging handler. But we're not receiving a message back out again. And same thing for, say, the auto greeter. Yesterday when we were using the bot was seeing people. It was doing things like, oh, haven't seen blah, blah, blah before. It was recognizing that it hadn't received messages from somebody, but it wasn't actually sending anything. So what we need is to dig in and figure out why. Let's see here. So let's pop into IRC. And now something that I did notice a bit earlier, the way that this plugin architecture more or less works from the client perspective is that a client is more or less an interface. It's a boundary from the outside world to the bot. And so when you have outbound events, the outbound event is outbound from the client. So it's messages coming from the client and going to the bot. And then for inbound events are messages that are coming from the bot to the client. And so what I noticed was, if I do a get references for outbound events is in fact being used because that is in the read method. So if we come back up here, this is our kind of primary read method that we use. And the outbound events channel is being used to send an event. So this is going to the bot. Oh. Well, that might be a problem. We'll take a look here in just a second. But if I do a get references to the inbound events, it's not really used anywhere. We initialize it, and we satisfy the interface of pluggable by offering a getter to that channel. But as far as I can tell, and as far as at least code references can tell, that's it. We're not actually using it anywhere, which I think is part of the problem. Now, what gave me pause down in our read method, though, as well, is this. So what we're doing is we're basically taking an IRC message and we're formatting it into a bot message. So if I do a not get references, I want to go to definition. But then for the message, we're using .string. .string has a lot more information inside of it than we would normally expect. If I'm not mistaken, we would actually only want that part. So we'll have to look into that. So problem number one is we're not reading from the inbound event. And on the bot, after a plugin has been registered with the bot, this is where more or less we start running into problems, because it is sending the message, or at least it seems like it's sending the message. And the original, actually, this needs to be reformatted just a little bit. Yeah, that should be fine. So more or less what we're looking at here is the send message function is the function that other handlers use. So for example, for our hello handler, for our command handler, when we see hello, we should send world. So this is one possible place of sending hello response. There we go. Still getting used to the new keyboard, bear with me. So that should come into here. That should be more or less oriented as a new chat event, and then that goes to send event. And then send event is more or less going to say, okay, for every outbound plugin that I have, which at the current state is just the IRC, then send that event to those plugins. Whether or not this needs to be a new method or not, though, is up for interpretation, I think. But so that should come down to the that should at least come down to the IRC. Let me double check that. So we've got our IRC running. Let's do a hello. Yeah, okay. Okay, I thought so. So what more or less didn't happen there is I was expecting that that log that we just plopped into the command handler, I was expecting to see sending hello response, but I didn't get it, which means that this is potentially borked, or specifically this part is potentially borked, which I think comes back to this that I saw before, the use of message.string instead of, I think this just needs to be strings.join message.params, and we'll join on, or we'll join with spaces. Okay. Seems reasonable. The thought here being that when we're sending an event out from IRC to the bot doesn't really need all of the additional pieces attached to it. The only thing that the bot really needs is the message itself. So the message itself in this case would just be the bang hello command. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. Still not receiving. Notice as well that, oh, okay. So, pardon the, so the problem here, so this is what we had previously, where we were using the message.string function. So we were getting the user, the channel, or sorry, the command, the channel, colon, and then from the colon onward is more or less the contents of the message. Whereas now we're getting the channel still, a colon, and then the message, which is interesting because this is the same I think this is the same logic. Let me pull up. Let me pull up the PR here. I can pull this into view. So if I go into IRC, so this is after the plugin refactor. So if I hit history, see the actual changes. Connect, read. So here's the read message. Let me expand all of that. Okay. Now, were we doing anything special on the bot side? Command handler, history, plugin refactor. We were, okay, so we were doing some processing. Yep. So if message.command equals priv message, then we need to do this piece. Although I don't think that we will be, I don't think that we'll be doing much in the way of anything other than priv message in here, but we'll keep it consistent. So finally, strip excess for message. So if message.command equals priv message, then now the funny thing is that I don't really see a need for a lot of this. Actually, so we'll let this be an intercept for ping pong. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually do this. I keep going back on myself as to whether or not. Let's see here. We'll call this cut message, and then this will be cut message. I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to include the priv message check here, because we're already doing we're only really considering two different message types in IRC: the ping pong message as well as the well, actually no, because ping and pong would technically fall under that category. So I think we do need this piece. So we'll say message contents. Do we want to do it this way? As I search for the equals. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll try it. We'll see what it looks like, and we'll see what it looks like with more or less what's on my mind is whether or not ping pong is also going to come in looking weird, but we can test that. And speaking of tests, we desperately need tests for this code base. That is one of the things that I am intending to dig into as part of the lab. I want to dig into this idea Sending hello response. Haha, we did it. I want to dig into what we can do. Oh dear. Kill -9, not -0. Kill -9. 13424. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that solves the issue that we were seeing of the handler itself wasn't even receiving the message, which is half of the battle. The other half of the battle, though, is that we are still not actually listening on inbound events. So now we're still in the case of the bot is receiving messages from the IRC, but the bot can't send messages to the IRC. But unfortunately, that is going to be a problem for another time, as it is time to start the day job. So thank you all so much for stopping by. Thank you for joining this first episode of the Lab After Hours. Stay curious. Hope to see you in stream, and we'll see you next time. Take care.